Hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. You are in for a real treat today in this episode. I had the opportunity to hear Roger Blevins Jr. perform in Nashville. He performed at the TRUE OASIS event that my husband and I attended. And wow, we were blown away by Roger's music and his willingness to share some of his more intimate happenings in his life. He was the frontman and songwriter for the band Mingo Fishtrap. You'll hear him explain how he came up with that name for his band, some of the struggles that he's faced personally, and a little bit about his music and how he's evolved as a musician. I really think you're going to enjoy hearing Roger's story today. So let's get started. And hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am delighted to have as my guest today, Roger Blevins Jr. from Austin, Texas. It is so good to see you.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I had the honor of getting to see you perform in Nashville not too long ago at an event my husband and I were attending, and we were just blown away at your talent. Wow, you sing, you play the guitar, you're just this amazing vocalist and musician. And I said, I have to have you on my show. So thank you for being with me today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that very kind introduction. Thank you.
Yes. So you're originally from Mississippi. You're now in Austin, Texas. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how your journey began with music. I know it started with some of your family members who had a love for music.
Yeah, my father has been a professional musician since he was 11 or 12 years old, had to support his family down in Louisiana, Mississippi. And so I came back pretty honestly, grew up with him playing in bands. And my folks were divorced when I was 5. My stepfather was in the Air Force, so we moved around a lot. Got used to that because that's part of being a musician as well. My grandmother, she never played professionally, but first musical memories I have are sitting on her lap learning hymns at the organ and all that good stuff. So I got lucky, got really lucky with a very musical family on that side of things, and got a passion for it. Got to be on stage when I was a little kid, because in Louisiana, if you were on stage, it was illegal for you to be in a bar, and so I don't know if that's the best childcare,
but it was what it was, right?
Yeah, he could keep an eye on me though, it was a the whole village thing. It was on stage. They were all taking, whether they wanted to or not, I was their responsibility.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So just, from there, actually moved to Texas when I was in high school, and after moving around quite a bit throughout the country, and just my passion for music brought me to University of North Texas, which is a great jazz school. Formed a band my sophomore year, and we're still together.
Yeah, and that band is
so many years later.
Mingo Fishtrap, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I have to ask, how'd you come up with the name?
So Denton, Texas is where the University of North Texas is, and my first beater car was a full-size diesel Blazer, which was not worth the money I think I paid for probably, but I had blown a tire, and a new tire was my year's budget. So I found a junkyard, because back in the day, the only map as a college student that you might have access to was the free map in the front of the yellow pages.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so I ripped it out like you do, and I found a junkyard on what was supposed to be an intersection of Mingo and Fishtrap Road, and never found the tire, but found a weird name. And literally the next week, there was a sign-up sheet for a thing in my dormitory called the Bruce Jam. Bruce Hall was our dormitory. It was the music dormitory in North Texas. And the only requirement to play this event was that you live there. So, not a great requirement, musically speaking. But I signed up, and these silly name of the street happened to be on my mind. So I put Mingo Fishtrap. I didn't have a band. And over the course of the next week, I got folks together, because you can throw a rock and hit 12 horn players at North Texas. So I had a 4-piece horn section and a full big band, and we did Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Tower of Power, all these old soul tunes, and it went over way better than we could have guessed. And here I am, a late middle-aged man, still doing the same thing. So it worked out, well enough for that. Anyway.
Story.
Yeah, that's our origin, our weird origin story.
I love that. Off camera, we were talking a little bit about the music now might be described as soulful Americana, but you say that's a little bit broader now than it probably was back then. So how would
Yeah,
you describe your
I don't
music?
know that Americana was even a term that was widely used when we formed. I grew up, my dad, in Louisiana at the 70s and 80s and 90s. If you played standards, it was soul music, R&B, so maybe some bluesy rock. But so I grew up with a lot of soul music, Otis Redding and a lot of Stax and Motown, and so that's where my heart's always been. And so to me, it's just soul music when you start writing your own tunes, and then other people make the determination of what you are. So that's okay, as long as they're mentioning you at all. You've maybe got
That's
a
a good
chance to
thing.
sound some records.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
It changes over the years. In terms of the broader musical fabric, definitely still all those old soul records. That is where I keep coming back. I love all sorts of music, but I'll keep coming back to those records and to Sam Cooke, and everything from Sam Cooke to more 70s funk, and that is the fabric of my musical taste. But in terms of inspiration for writing, you live life, and hopefully you pick up some stories along the way. And my relationship with my wife is always a deep well to choose from. But not everything's autobiographical. Sometimes you gotta stretch the story. And so just wherever, whatever it might be, turn a phrase. I've tried my whole life to have a system. There's a great songwriter friend of mine named Paul Thorne. He carries a little notebook in his pocket all the time, and it's a philosophy textbook. If you look through it, it's amazing. And so I do kind of the same thing with voice notes. It's just
Sure.
But once you get to 10,000 voice notes, it's hard to go through. So a month or so, you might get through half of them. But
Yeah, I'm sure the ideas when they come to you, you want to write them down or put them in your voice notes quickly.
Yeah, Willie Nelson said if you have songwriter, if you have a writer's block, just go on a drive, and that is literally, I'd say 85% of ideas that finally make it to a record for me start in the car and just drive down the road.
That's very true. I would say that as we are driving, we do think a lot, and that would make perfect sense as a songwriter. Who have you performed with that you've really enjoyed the most?
Man, so many folks. We are all, always the bridesmaid, never the bride kind of thing, which is actually a great place to be because, we've had a career, but we haven't had some of the, more money, more problems kind of thing that we see happen. Tedeschi Trucks, we played with them a few times, and they're just so amazing, and they're kind of on our wavelength in terms of the band size and what they do. I love those guys. But when we play, it just depends on the context. We opened for Sting one time, which was really weird, and we didn't get to meet Sting. It was a very separated kind of a thing, and just that when you go from the folks that we are normally on a bill with, like on a festival, for instance.
Right.
When you go from that, and those folks are well known, they have hundreds of thousands of fans or whatever. Then you go up to that level of Sting, and it's like going from it's like millionaire to billionaire. Kind of the difference between the homestead it's a pretty significant thing. So there's some charm in my memory from that, but just there's a lot of different favorites depending on what it is. We played a festival direct support at the Rochester Jazz Festival, which is we played for years and years, and one of my favorite festivals to do. We were direct support for Trombone Shorty. It was for 40,000 people, so that was the largest crowd we ever played for. And I remember, we were stoked. We were like, "Oh man, it's gonna be great!" And we walked from backstage, and I remember getting 15 feet onto the stage and going, "That's going to be a problem," because I could not hear. You could have yelled at me from 3 feet away, and I could not have heard a single word you said. It was so, just the din of the audience was so loud before there was any applause that we were like, "This is going to be a technical issue right now." So we were like literally kind of where we could see each other. Here's a hit. Here's a hit.
Everybody. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But it was also exhilarating, so there's just so many. And honestly, for me personally, musically, some of my personal heroes are actually friends of mine now. So folks like Foy Vance, who's an amazing singer-songwriter. We've gotten to play with Foy quite a bit through Delbert McClendon and his cruise that he does every year. So, and Delbert is another hero of mine, and we've got to know him. So yeah, we've just lucked into this situation where we've gotten to play with a bunch of our heroes.
I love that. Well, I want to take it a little more personal now. You are in the midst of some health challenges, and I suspect that's probably made you reflect too on your life and maybe put some more notes in your phone about some future songs. Do you want to share that with my audience?
Absolutely, I'm happy to. Yeah, so I about a little over a year ago, about a year and 3-4 months ago, I was diagnosed with oral cancer. It's had squamous cell carcinoma, verrucous carcinoma. For anybody, you know, there's so many folks. I don't want to get too precise with my stuff, but when you get into it becomes a world. It's a community. You know, the moment you get diagnosed, you are initiated into a new community, and it's luckily in my situation, it's been incredibly supportive. But yeah, as a vocalist, you know, now kind of I don't say the worst, because there's always something worse, but it wasn't the best news to have tumors on your tongue and just in the oral cavity in general. And so had a couple partial glycectomies where they take out, you know, a good part of your tongue, and a neck dissection where they remove a bunch of stuff. And so I'm very lucky, very blessed to still be able to, you know, I have a bit of a speech impediment, which actually is more evident when I speak than it is when I sing. When you sing, you have more real estate, let's say, you know, a little more at your disposal. So you know, it's just a reframing. I wish that it happened, but I'm a person of faith, and I have faith, and I, you know, constantly pray that whatever the situation that I find myself in, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's the mentality we try to move forward with. You know, the biggest disappointment for me is this came on the tail of COVID. And so COVID shut down pretty much every band in the world. And then, you know, depending on your clout in a certain market, you're able to come back at a very uneven kind of rate of return for different artists. And we, as a band, you know, we never quite got there before this happened. And so I just haven't had a chance to make much music with my brothers, and that's a drag. But, you know, we're holding the faith and trying to get back to something. And in the meantime, you know, we'll just doing what we can. I took to building lots of guitars that are surrounding me. You know, it doesn't require me to open my mouth much. So been doing that quite a bit. And in the moments where I can sing, I have a wonderful church family here, and I can serve in that way and sing there. And so, yeah, it's been weird. It's been very weird. And I think that for most folks going through cancer or any major health, you know, change, it's never great, but it's also weird. It's, you know, it's a constant barrage of new input data that you have to process. And I'm just super blessed and lucky to have the support system that I do with my wife and all our friends. And yeah, you know, try to choose gratitude, basically.
Yeah, Roger, thank you so much for sharing that. It's obvious your faith, your support system is where you draw your strength, and you can count on me to pray for you.
Thank you so
because
much.
I know that there is power in prayer. So the more people praying for you, the better. And I will be joining your prayer warriors for you in your journey. Any final thoughts as we close? I would like for you to share how people can follow you, how they can find your music, because you are amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Probably the most music out there is definitely Mingo Fishtrap, the band, several records and some singles and things. So if you, it's just Mingo Fishtrap on all the socials and YouTube and Spotify and all that good stuff. I put out a few songs under my own name, Roger Blevins Jr., that are out there since the world ended, and has begun again. So check that out as well. And I'm on all the socials as Mingo Singer for the most part. But yeah, Mingo Fishtrap's probably the best way to get to us.
Yes. Well, I hope I do have the opportunity to see you perform in person again, because you're so talented, and it really was a pleasure to have that opportunity to see you when we were in Nashville visiting. So I wish you all the best in your recovery. We will be praying for you, and I want to thank you for taking the time to be on my show today. It's been just a pleasure to have you.
Nicole, thank you so very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And that will do it for this edition of Conversations with Nicole. Until I see you again, I hope you have a great day.